Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Friday night or Saturday night live, or Friday night live rather. Uh, I've just been walking the streets of Hare Hills and Gipton delivering leaflets, so I'm a little bit tired. And that's what I'll use as the excuse for getting the days wrong. But I hope everyone's keeping well. Hope everyone's good. So let's see who comes in to say hello. I know Graham's messaged me already to say, am I coming on live? There we go. Northern Ireland in the house. Alan, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Hope everyone's good with you. There you go, Graham. I was just talking about you. Nothing bad. Just to say that you'd message me to say if I'm coming on. I'm good seeing you. Yeah, it's a nice little chainsaw actually. It's a it's nice and handy for just lopping off little branches, or just chopping up kindling. I mean, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's got plenty of power to it, and it's got plenty of battery life as well. So I like the way the batteries just last for a fair while. So that's one of the good things. Andrea, Moz, and Bobby, how are you all doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're all keeping well. How's life going? How's your gardens going? How are your plants coming along at the moment? Let's see. Most of my chilies that are in my greenhouse or my grow house, they've come on an absolute treat. A lot of my nagas are putting on their second and third sets of leaves now, and yeah, they're looking nice, nice and short, nice and stout little plants. So I need to start potting them up very soon. So what I'll do is I'll wait towards the end of this month when when the days are a lot longer, and then I'll start potting a lot of things up and getting them just sat in front of the windowsill and getting the young seedlings just under the lights. But yeah, they're coming on really good. D, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Aubergines up, peppers up, chilies up, and 2 sets of leaves. That's 21 days on the square box and propagated kitchen set. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Graham, how are you doing, mate? Yeah, the little chainsaw's pretty good, actually. Yeah, I really like that little chainsaw. Willow Grove, how are you doing? Where are we going? There you go. Hit the like, everyone. Absolutely hit that like button. So let's see who's coming over on TikTok to say hello. So we've got a few people on TikTok. Not sure. Well, we'll see. Wait till the comments come up, and then we'll start answering some of those questions. I like your worm composting video. See, the worm bin we've had for a good few years now, and I really like that worm bin because it's a good size. It just allows you to get a good batch of compost going, and you can, because of the size of it, you can just make mistakes. You don't have to be restricted by getting every ratio right, getting the moisture content right, getting the pH right, which can be a problem with smaller bins. But with a larger bin like that, you can just dump everything in and just completely forget about it and just leave it as it is, and we'll let the worms eat it and break it down. So we've got someone over on TikTok, I can't quite read the name, saying hello, how are you doing? Am I too late to start sweet potatoes? I don't think so. I mean, sweet potatoes do want a long growing season, but if you're going to grow them inside a greenhouse, then I don't think you're going to be too late. You might be able to catch up on the season. We've got a sweet potato sitting in some water. It's put out a couple of roots, and there's no signs of any slips coming yet. So we'll just see how they come along. Oh, it's Kushmala. Okay. Okay, I'll tell her you came in to say hello. So yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, we haven't got any slips yet. We've just got the sweet potatoes sitting in there, and I'm guessing they're gonna just break any time now. But what I have done is I've sat that jar of water on top of the heat mat. So the jar of water is on top of the heat mat. It's not boiling warm, but it's sort of lukewarm sort of temperature. And the sweet potatoes just sat in there. It's put out 2 roots, and those roots are starting to get bigger. We're just waiting for those leaves and slips to start growing. It's been a gorgeous week. I took the day off. The weather has been rubbish at the allotment. Still managed to get a few. What did you manage to get done, Moz? See, it has been a really nice week, but I've been stuck indoors all week. Got most of today off, but I only took most of today off just so I could clear the remaining bits of wood from my front garden and shift it around the back. So it's a sign of the times at the moment. We picked up a load of wood a few days ago. On Wednesday, we picked it up and left it on the front drive on top of the wood chip pile. And someone, there was a mix of silver birch, holly, and I don't know what the other tree was. It's a tree that I've not seen before, but the silver birch was, whoever took it just took all the silver birch, left all the holly behind, and yeah, so quite gutted actually, because it's heavy stuff shifting that about. So yeah, it's a shame we lost a fair bit there. So let's see. Got lots of Mitsuana and Tatsoi, or Mitsuna and Tatsoi growing in the greenhouse, and chilies, loofah, and tomatoes under the lamps. We've got our loofahs growing. We've got tomatoes under the lamps. Some of the tomatoes have been already kicked out of the lamps because the chilies are taking over in there. So the tomatoes that came up and were sort of settled under the lamps, they got their little bit of time, and as soon as the chilies started popping their heads up and started taking over, the tomatoes have been relegated. Yeah, the tomatoes got relegated to go and sit on top of a windowsill now. So all the tomatoes are just sat on top of a windowsill, and they're going to be allowed to just live there for the rest of their lives until we kick them out of the house. We're quite rough with our tomatoes over here. Assalamu alaikum wassalam wa rahmatullah. Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. So who's over there? Oh, excuse me. Joan, how are you doing? Quirkus Aroba, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Sarika shared the live. Thank you very much for sharing it. If anyone else wants to share it, that'll be fantastic. I've got the real hot chili under grow lights. Which one's the real hot chili? Tell us which one you're talking about. Because we've got a few Carolina Reapers growing. We've got some Morugas, we've got some Jolokias, and we've got Nagas growing, all under the lights at the moment. And they've all put on. Some of them are still germinating. Graham, your overkill just germinated, so they're moving under the lights probably today. Once I get off this live, I'll shift them under the grow lights. But the chili cupboard's coming on an absolute treat, and we'll start pricking out some of the Nagas very shortly. Planted a 1-year-old maiden pear tree just over a year ago, and is now a good time to prune it. It looks like the middle is full of branches. So yeah, now would be a perfect time to prune it. You're coming up to towards the end of the time to actually prune it. Because pears, remember, they bud quite early, so you want to prune it before they start going back to life. So now you're coming up to pretty much your closing time to prune it. Akhal 78, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Little red one off a friend from Islamabad. Fantastic. I put some pics on my page. On your TikTok page. So Khal's got a Carolina Reapers and Naga chilies growing. Absolutely awesome. Yes. See, you can't. I don't think you can beat Naga. I really don't need. I really don't think you can beat Naga. Have I tried Oka? I haven't. Lots of people have had good results with it. It's one plant that I do need to get growing. Excuse me. I need to get some more perennials in the ground. We've got loads of Jerusalem artichokes. They're fantastic. But Oka's very similar, I think. I took my 30 pallet colours to the allotment today at least. 30 pallet colours, that's going to be a good amount of raised beds there. Breeze blocks and sand, so just a bit of wall. But what are you building? Chase, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thanks very much for coming in. Ali, wa alaikum assalam wa alaikum wa rahmatullah. And it's free manure for people around Yorkshire who need it that can collect it, mate. Hope. Graham, I saw your message about the manure. Whereabouts is it? LS25. That's out Pudsey way, I think. Is it? If you want some more, wicked, that'd be great. That'd be really kind of you, actually. If you can drop me a message, then yeah, I'll send you my address. But that'll be really good. I seen your video with cherry trees. I grow them from seeds and I've thought a plant ready. The thing is, one of the things about fruit trees is when you grow them from seed is you'll get some. Obviously, you get fruit trees, but they'll just take a lot longer to produce fruit. So whereas a grafted tree can produce fruit a couple of years after planting, a cherry tree will take about 10 years before it starts planting. Starts fruiting. But the other thing is they're not always something that's going to breed true. So if you've got an established tree already, what I'd do with that is once you've got your younger plant growing, I'll take a whip off that, I'll take a cutting off that and graft it onto an existing tree, and that'll just give it the vigor of the root that's already growing and established, and you'll get to taste what this new variety is a lot faster. Yeah, I agree, but it's a tree in nature, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you wanted it for fruit, that's one of the ways that I'd go about it. Let's just turn that to silent. We're getting a bit of disturbance. So Optical Turnkey, how are you doing? Optical Turnkey, Turnkey, how are you doing? Yeah, that's a nice name. Interesting. I've got some onion sets. I'm too late to plant them. Onion sets, if you're going to plant them, you can plant them in a tray now. I've seen a lot of people plant onion sets in seed trays just to get a jump start on the season. Towards the end of the month, early part of next month, you can plant them direct into the ground, so you're not too late with sets at all. Yeah. When to sow radish and carrots outdoor, I'd wait for the temperatures to get a little bit warmer. Radishes and carrots can take a very cold temperature, but it's just a little bit too cold at the moment. It's still very frosty. So if you did want to go for a few sets, I mean, I've got some radishes growing that I planted sort of mid-January time, and they're putting on their true leaves, but I've got them in a raised bed. They're outdoors, but they've got a piece of plastic over the top covering them. So it's a black large container. It's raised up. It's on top of concrete, so there's a little bit of residual heat, and then it's got that additional cover over the top. So it's got that. One thing in trays, the roots get real tangled. Yeah, but the thing is with onions, they're that resilient. They'll keep going. They'll spread themselves. So yeah. Rabs Lee, how are you doing? Am I going to be doing any kale? I will be doing some kale. Yeah, we had a good kale discussion last week. So one of the first things that I did when I first started gardening was I grew loads and loads of kale, thinking that it's an amazing superfood, and yeah, just more than what I knew what to do with. So I will be doing some kale instead of growing for all the varieties. I grow only one variety now, so I don't grow loads of different varieties. I grow it's called Black Russian or Tuscany kale, or Tuscan black sometimes it's called, but it's the same, it's pretty much the same plant. So that's the one that I grow now, but I only grow a few. So you're building retaining walls and a new planting beds out of breeze work. They're going to be lasting for a long time. Are you proper concreting them in, sand and cement in them, or what you're doing, just laying them down, or are you going all out? You told what grew to. Yeah, everyone wants. I got a true Siberian kale. Oh, that's Siberian kale. Very nice. Have you tasted it to see what it's like? Um, Horseradish, grow it in a container. Um, Horseradish, once it's in the ground, that's it. It's not going anywhere. It is a very invasive plant. So yeah, once it's in the ground, that's it. You'll never get rid of it. So my one tip would be just grow it in a container, and that way, yeah, that way you can control it and it won't spread and it won't become a pest. So my name's an anagram of tyrant police. Oh. I love kale, but I've had no success in growing. I had a great year for tomatoes, but no luck with kale or cucumber. See, cucumber, now is a good time to plant, and now's a really good time to get cucumbers growing. Cucumbers, we generally do quite well with cucumbers. The only problem we get is quite a few bitter cucumbers on some of the plants. And I know some people say it's about the male plant pollen and blah blah blah, but I've had the same thing with all female varieties as well. Um, so there's something not right. I know some people put it down to over, you know, irregular watering, but yeah, we do have that problem with cucumbers. But kale, now's another. Towards the end of this month, you should be able to grow it in a cold greenhouse outside, and then just plant it somewhere shaded, not somewhere over burdened by the heat. Because what's going to happen, we're more than likely going to have another hot year this year. So kale and these kind of plants are going to struggle in the heat. So grow them somewhere shaded where they can get a little bit of cooler plants, maybe underneath a taller plant. Uh, and that way the taller plant grows up, the kale grows wide and gives a bit of ground cover. So what am I growing this so far? If you haven't seen my what to plant this month or what to plant in February video, do check that out. There's lots of seeds that I'm planting right now. Siberian has a strong taste, going to start some in the next few days. Magnesium sulfate on the cucumbers. What does a magnesium sulfate do? Calyx in post are wicked. Very nice. Thanks, Graham. I grew onions from seed last January, but didn't get them in the ground until October. Do you think they'll put on size or just bolt since this is their second year? So more than likely, before they put on a much good size, they will bolt. It's still worth if they do grow. And depends on how you've planted them. If you planted them really thick, what I'd do is I'd harvest some as spring onions. With the others, I'll just try and wait it out. And if they're already planted in the ground, yeah, just wait it out. As long as they're growing, they're growing. But as soon as you see signs of them bolting, just pull them and just take them like that. Khan, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm back to protect you from the trolls. Nice one. Nice one. We needed you last week. We had a few trolls last week. But Salika squashed them, which was good. So Margaret Alice, I've overwintered 15 plus Scotch bonnet chilies. Too many. I didn't think they'd survive. I'm in Northumberland. I've got Naga chili seeds this year. Do they overwinter? Nagas overwinter really well. So most super hots do well in the second year. So yeah, if you've got 16 overwintered, you're onto a winner. Google the see. I know magnesium, but magnesium sulfate. I'll have a look at what magnesium is. Magnesium sulfate is, sorry, because normally what we do is we'll sort of supplement magnesium through and manganese through liquid feeds, comfrey feed. Because of the way comfrey is a dynamic accumulator, it spreads out a lot of spreads adds a lot of those micronutrients back, and that's one of the good things about Raymill wood chip. They're fantastic as well for adding micronutrients to the soil. Let's see. Tony, how are you doing, mate? Thanks very much for coming in. Have you ever grown chayote? Looks interesting. I grow chayote every year. I never get fruit. We just struggle with the season over here. I know someone who grows them in London, and they always get a harvest. But mine, I've already got one plant. I've already got one plant growing. I'll get it planted in the ground probably end of April time, and it'll be 4 or 5 feet tall before I get it planted out. And even then, it'll really, it'll grow massive. It turned into a huge plant. Last year, it grew and it spread all across the top of my chicken run. So, 4 meters spread, and still not a sign of any fruit, even after that heat that we had last year. So I think the season just really struggles. So I lost a few tomato plants. They turned black. Would they be? Would that be disease? When did you lose them? What time of year? I'm the Welsh. I use scaffold netting to cover kale protector from butterflies and winter pigeons. See, the pigeons are the problem. So what I do is I normally plant any sort of cabbages or any leaves under my arches for my gourds, and then I grow my gourds over the top, and then that way, if we get a lot of heat, the gourds and squash shade the kale and shade the salad leaves underneath. But for butterflies and maggots and those kind of things, we just use a lot of companion planting. I don't use any netting in my garden at all. Companion planting and the mix of plants keeps it quite protected. So the masjid is on Bradford Street. MashaAllah. It's BD21's a little bit far from where I am, but yeah. I mean, I use scaffold. I've read that one. I use milk and water to mix to keep disease at bay. Do you know, milk and water is fantastic. Sour milk is even better. So, do you know, sour milk, yogurt, you know, that sort of thing is even better than using milk. It just adds a bit more active bacteria to the plant, and it just does it absolutely amazing. But yeah. Shweta, how are you doing? Extravagant fragrance. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I got young chocolate primtali in the nursery. Trays a few. Very nice. I don't know how hot they are. Are they super hots? So Sophie, you're in Keithley Town. Okay, there's a few Keithley folk here. So last week I told you about I was going to be going to my first day of this course done by DEFRA. So I was on that on Wednesday. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting course. It was just they gave a little bit of the course outline, and it was just a introduction and getting to know your classmates and getting to know what the course is about. But we'll see what it actually results in, because what they said was they're going to do certain modules on different types of growing methods, gaining access to finance, not necessarily access to land, but finance is the biggest thing of gaining access to land. And trying to get people networking, and then potentially meet people who I met a couple of farmers, real farmers, with 100, 200 acre farms, and not people who aren't too far from me, but no one's willing to share any of their secrets yet, though, on how to get land, which is the hardest part about becoming a farmer, I think. Sarah, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Now stay and join the chat from where we're at, and then you can chip in with your comments. I was late in the season, so it's more than likely blight. Then if a lot of your plants are turning black and they're dying, then one of the biggest causes for that sort of disease is blight. And once you get that, that's it. Your plants are finished. Throw them away, take them out. I've done a video on preventing blight, or you can never prevent blight, but you can sort of manage the risks of it, and delay the onset of it. I saw a lady on YouTube in UK grow it from a sprouted chilty from the supermarket. She might have been based in London. See, we grow it like that from a sprouted one, but we get massive plants, just never any fruit. So I got my allotment in 2001 over here in Stockport. Message me up, got loads of stuff to share. Drop me a comment on one of my videos when you finish this, and I'll follow you, and we'll get you a message, and we'll get in contact. Because I'll never find you as soon as I get off this live and I start looking for you. I'll never find you. So, is the French marigolds the best for companion planting? French marigolds are good. What's the other one? Calendula, they're really good as well. African marigolds are good. Don't make the mistake that I made a few years ago. Was African marigolds grow really tall. They can grow up to 3-4 feet tall. So I planted them thinking they'd be like the normal French marigold, and I stuck them in a pot with a tomato plant. And yeah, the marigold plant was bigger than the tomato plant. So just be careful. Most marigold varieties are good, but it depends on the size that you want to manage. French marigold will stay fairly small. Your calendulas will grow quite big, and they'll tend to need pruning quite a lot. And they can survive a hard pruning, and they can even overwinter as well out here. Please be more careful in using any kind of chainsaw. It's supposed to be super hot, hotter than a Carolina Reaper. We'll see. Just grow them and see if they are hotter than a Carolina Reaper. See, one of the things about Carolina Reapers are hot, but they don't have a great taste. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, they don't have a great taste. Same with Marugas are all right. Joloki and Naga are pretty much indistinguishable in taste. They're very similar. They're supposed to be. Do you have any experience growing super hots to maturity in cocoa coir? Would it be better in multi-purpose compost? Cocoa coir is going to be very nutrient deficient. Cocoa coir, remember, is not. It's an inert material that's good to help things sprout, but good to help root spread, but it's not a feed. It's not going to feed your plant, so you're going to have to feed it loads and loads of additional chemicals, essentially. And the way I tend to grow is I want the plant to get the food from the soil. Do I grow lab beans? I grow loads of lab beans. Check out some of the harvests we got last year. Last year was one of the best years we've had for lab beans. Bowls full of lab beans last year. There's so much land out there. There is so much land out there not being used, but getting access to it is the hard part. I mean, that's the thing that I've been trying to do. The community should do fundraiser for. See, extravagant fragrance. The idea that I put out last year is I'm still waiting for some decent people to get into contact with me. Is a small farm is going to cost you about $500,000, but a large farm is going to cost about $1 million, right? Now, a small farm is going to be a 10-acre farm is going to be unimaginable for an average person, but a large farm split between 10 people, a 100-acre piece of land, a 150-acre piece of land split between 10, 15 people, it now brings the cost down to a manageable sort of level. 100 grand, 200 grand, that sort of thing is much more manageable than $500,000. So if we can find the right bunch of people who are willing to take that journey with me, then we can go out, buy a big plot of land, and we divide the land up, share out bits of land to each person, split it out on plots, and then we'll just, everyone apply for permission, go down the route that they need to go down on, and build their own little homestead. Mercy, Jazakallah khair, Tabarakallah fi. Only three Carolina Reapers germinate out of 20 not happy. They are, see, this is one of the things that I mentioned on one of my videos a while ago, is the hottest chilies are harder to germinate. Did you try soaking them? Get some borage planted, they're lovely. Import. See, Martin, that's the thing, that borage grows in our garden quite naturally. We planted it first year of me gardening in this plot where I'm at now, about 12 years ago, and they just, about first year's planting, they just grow everywhere now, pretty naturally. Wrong end of the scale can cause absolutely. pH is very important. Sometimes a lack of available calcium, and incorrect pH can mimic each other, but pH is important. You're right. Walaikum assalam, nice to see it. But I'll tell you now, today was a much nicer response than Bilal Masjid than I've ever had. Normally, it's quite, some of the brothers treat me quite cold there, but alhamdulillah, it was really nice today. Got quite a few people came up to me and said hello, and shook my hand and gave salam. It was really nice. Thanks for having me here. Any tips on reducing mold on seedling under the grow light? I'm sure you mentioned it in another video. See, if you're getting mold in there, then it's more than likely due to a lack of airflow. And if it's lack of airflow or too much humidity, that's probably the biggest cause of it. So I'd check your water levels, and I'd check first thing I do is I reduce your water levels, make sure it's not overly wet or overly humid, and I'll also check that there's plenty of ventilation for them. We were thankfully pretty much okay with blight last year because of how dry it was. See, blight was pretty good last year. It did come on towards the end of the season, but it was pretty good. Excuse me. Martin, I'll see you soon. Nice one. Thanks for coming in for a chat. Where have I gone? Naga, I know. Yeah, I know you grow your Komodo dragons. Have you ever tried growing chickpeas? I've grown chickpeas before, but it's not worth growing over here. It's just really not worth growing chickpeas in this country. You're lucky to get 2 peas per pod per plant. Yeah, so it's just not worth growing. We don't get the season. I don't know if it's the right varieties for the climate, but I've grown the ones just straight from the supermarket that we'd normally buy, and they've grown. They look quite pretty plants, but the harvest is just not worth it. It just makes it not worth it. They are quite tasty, fresh chickpeas, green chickpeas. They are quite nice, but yeah, then they're just not very good. Use English marigold, pot marigolds for black beetles that cause chocolate spot. Since I use marigold, my beans are completely clean. What's chocolate spot? I've not heard of chocolate spot. It's almost impossible to get any planting permission. It's not. There's a lot of people doing it. One of the things I was talking to a couple of farmers on last Wednesday was what they've done is they're being a little bit cheeky. It's their land. They're not being cheeky at all. What they've done is they've built an extra couple of barns on parcels of land, and what they'll do is apply for planning permission after that barn's been there for I think it's 3 years on a barn. After that, they'll apply for planning permission, which most councils are giving out quite readily at the moment. And once they've got the planning permission, they'll just sell that little parcel of land off, and it'll be a lot more. It'll be a lot better. A lot more expensive. So it's not impossible. There are a lot of ways to do it, but to get to that point where you can do it and where you can apply it is quite difficult. Inshallah. I mean, the deer love borage and generally eat all my. Soaked in chili, still soaked in tea, still no luck. See, Carolina Reapers. Where'd you get your seed from? Ian, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning really bad today. Sarah, use filtered water. Tap water normally causes mold, from my experience. I use tap water. And I use, depending on the plant, I'll use a bit of rainwater. But yeah, so unless you're, I wouldn't go to the need of filtering water unless your water's extremely acidic or extremely alkali. If it's really hard water, then I'd go for it. But otherwise, most tap water is quite about the pH 8 sort of range, or just under, and that's good enough for me to go ahead and use. Ground cinnamon helps with most mold and fungus. I've never tried that. Save all our cinnamon for cooking. Moz, yeah, you should eat the. Yeah, there you go. There's an. See, I knew you were going to come out with that. I was just waiting for that solution to come from you. See, okay, did you sow them in individual cells, or how did you go about doing it? So this is why I like sowing several plants in one pot, because if you plant loads in one pot, you're not wasting compost, you're not wasting time, you're not wasting space. Everything either grows or it doesn't grow. But something generally does grow in that one pot, and if you only get 1 out of 10 seeds germinate, that one plant can stay in that pot and just carry on growing and living in there. But yeah, I generally prefer sowing heavily, especially with seedlings, into one pot and then transplanting them rather than sowing them into individual seed trays. Is that the method you went for? About 20 of the Naga seeds you gave me have germinated, plus 6 Apache chili seeds and about 8 Carolina Reaper. I've got 4 Carolina Reaper. I try to grow things that are expensive in the shops. What do you like to grow? There are ways to get land for free. And Graham, if you can get me some land for free, yeah, I'll have that. I'm having a meltdown on trying to control a diesel heater thermostatically. I've got no experience using a diesel heater. Is that in your polytunnel? So, sugar baby watermelon. You told us about that last year, and I think I'm gonna have to look at some seeds. Um, did you grow them straight outside, and whereabouts in the country as well? Um, so what's from Pennsylvania? Let me go back and have a look at your comment to see it's too far back. Uh, how would you suggest getting rid of fungus gnats from bringing compost indoors? You know, if you're gonna try and if you're gonna try and go a sort of soil plant friendly way, you're not going to get rid of them. You can reduce the water to reduce the amount of them, but you'll never actually get rid of them. What you could use is fly traps. So, you know, the sticky tape to catch the flies. That's one way of using it. That's one way of that's like a mechanical method of insect control, but you will struggle getting rid of them totally unless you sort of boil the soil and kill everything off that's in it, and then you'll just kill all the beneficial stuff that's in it as well. And I wouldn't recommend that. Um, Dandy Mom, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Thanks for recommending. I've got some started and ready for the garden. Awesome. You'll enjoy the banana peppers. What's the variety? There's a new variety, so it's got a funny name. Uh, I've never grown them before, but they're a sort of pink type of chili. But they they're the shape of a naga, but they're quite sweet. Um, but I can't remember the name. It starts with a P, Pompochillo or something like that. I'd have to double check. Um, check out Alan's allotment. He has now. He has Alan who. Um, in a green. So you're in a greenhouse in Birmingham. Okay. So yeah, you're warmer. You're warmer than I am down up here. But yeah, I'd like. I'd like some. I'd like to go these sugar babies. Let's have a look. See if I can see if I'm gonna do another seed order. Maybe, maybe. Hassan Ali wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I stocked up for wood. I, I was talking about it a bit ago. Quite disappointing actually. I picked up a fresh batch of wood on Wednesday and some holly and some silver birch, and someone pinched all my silver birch. And silver birch burns are absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna have to get on the lookout for some more. But Moz gave me a load. Yeah, well, Moz gave me a load of wood chip. He gave me some other stuff as well, but I won't repeat that. So where are we at? Nigel Live spoken tonight is manually hitting his on and off. What chickens do I keep? So I've only got a few chickens at the moment. They're all hybrids. So they're all sort of, there's a couple of leg bar hybrids, not leg bar, leghorn hybrids. Do you know the white egg layers? And I've got a couple of red hens, but I need to get some more young chickens. I don't know whether to. I need to get some fresh blood into the garden and into the flock rather than just trying to hatch more from the hens that I've got now, because they'll all be related. So I want some fresh blood in. I've got a nice rooster as well. This guy's really chill. The last guy was an absolute horrible little animal. The rooster I've got now is absolutely amazing. He's really good around the kids as well. The last guy was just absolutely horrible. Get some clean breed so you can let them go broody. One of the hens that I've got, she does go broody. She's a home hatched chicken. So when I say hybrids, they're not exactly red hybrids, but they're just mongrels. But she does go broody. She's a leg bar cross, red hen cross, leghorn. Fungus, and that's a horrible. I use cinnamon on top of plant sprinkle, always away from water, surface soil dry, then top very dry. See, I'm a big fan of using top watering rather than bottom watering. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, the thing is, it was a hen that was a cross to begin with. When Yeah, it was a hen that was a cross to begin that I hatched at home, and then the mother of the hen is a hybrid that I hatched at home. So it's pretty mashed up. I used to have lavender leghorns, buff Orpingtons, and light Sussex. Light Sussex are really pretty birds, and I want some buff Orpingtons. Buff Orpingtons would be absolutely amazing. Big fat bum, big fat booty birds. Yeah, they'd be absolutely gorgeous. Fluffy chickens. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Orpingtons. Um, growing Bikino chilies again this year. Mild heat and amazing flavor like no other I've ever tried. I'm trying this new one called Ozra. It's a black chili, but it's supposed to be sort of slightly hot, that sort of range. But that'll be an interesting grow this year. Maybe we have all busy lives and it's not easy to keep. Nigel put one out tonight though. It's hard work trying to keep on top of everything. Those suffering with fungus, it's hard work trying to keep on top of everything, and that's one of the things that I've been trying to do is keep regular with the videos. I mean, there's been times where I've struggled to get videos out every week, but yeah, at the moment I'm pretty much firefighting. Shoot a video on a Saturday. Saturday night I edit it, so I'm up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning editing a video, and then Sunday morning I'm posting that video out again. So it can get quite, yeah, it, just really messy at the moment. Would love to see some basic chicken videos. Just throwing it out there. What kind of basic chicken video would you want to see? Because I've done some videos on building coops and building the compost system around it. But I remember I did a video very early on around the way I keep chickens. Now, a lot of chicken keepers keep chickens and they keep them as pets and they keep them in a really scientific way. If you know the way I garden, that's the way I keep chickens. It's very basic. My attitude to most things is just leave them be and let them grow. I'll clean the coop. I'll give them a little bit of wood ash to keep them, let them use for the dust baths, and that'll keep the insects down. But apart from that, just leave that. I pretty much leave them to it. And I got a lot of stick very early on for not being, for not being as methodological as some of the other chicken keepers. So I stopped doing that kind of thing very, very early on. But if you want some basic chicken videos, just let us know what sort of thing you want, and I'm sure we can accommodate something. Mine been really good this year. Still getting between 7 and 9 eggs a day from 9. That's amazing, Tony. Absolutely fantastic. What breeds have you got? Glad your rooster is a good lad, especially after the last one. Are you getting any eggs at the moment? So we get probably 2 or 3 eggs a day. We've got 4 hens and a rooster, and we get 2 or 3 eggs a day. One hen, she's just sort of retired. She's just living out her life. She hasn't laid an egg for a very long time, but yeah, she's just retired doing her thing. Just trying to get, yeah. Last rooster I came across, he chased me down the allotment avenue. What, Margaret? You should have seen my last rooster. Was an absolute nightmare. It was so bad. It was so bad. He was chasing the kids. He was chasing my wife. He was jumping up and attacking me. He didn't care about anything. That guy was absolutely horrible. Plastic coops cost an arm and a leg. It's insane for just. Yeah, the thing is, I'd never buy those plastic coops. They've got a brand, and because they've got that brand, and a lot of people want to go and sort of buy the creme de la creme for their chickens. If I was going to go down a plastic coop route, I'd just buy an IBC and use that. Buy an IBC, cut a door in it, and Bob's your uncle. That off you go. I wouldn't do anything else with it. Should have done Kurbani on him. I gave him to one of my friends, and he's got him now. Hydrogen peroxide for the gnats. Mad Dog, how are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Now, well, really appreciate the effort you put into these videos. Basic as in step. So you're interested in chicken for eggs. Here's what to do, what you need to know. Right, maybe you've given me an idea, something I can do something for tomorrow. Let's see. D, thanks. I like your easy methods. Iki, you take care, and I'll see you soon. Walaikum salam. So light Sussex, speckled, a few hybrids, Black Rock, and a buff. Oh, I love Buff Orpingtons, man. Buff Orpingtons are amazing. You have to sit on him, and that was Tony. I sat on him. I removed his spurs. Yeah, sat on him, carried him, used to chase him around. I used to pick him up and walk with him. I used to rock him. He'd be fine, when you're doing all that sort of thing. But once he's finished all that, that's it. He's back to being an absolute nightmare again. This guy was on another level. He was absolutely mental. It's like something I'd never seen before. It was like, like a rabid dog. That's what he was like. Because even when we've had, rowdy roosters before, I've gone in with a sweeping brush, chased him with a sweeping brush, and they've never stopped messing about. Like one rooster jumped on me once, so I grabbed him and I just, pinned him for a few minutes, and he stopped after that. But this guy, no matter what you did to him, he'd probably take a break from you for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later he'd just be all over, back to doing the same craziness as he was doing before you messed with him. Absolute mental, this guy. But he was really full of character. Yeah, he was Sarah. He was absolutely horrible. He was really horrible. He was full of character, but he was so horrible. The kids were terrified of him. They've got they're really apprehensive around the new rooster because of this old guy. But yeah, my mate's got him, and my mate's dealt with him now anyway, so that's pretty good. Who else is coming in? Orpington's best chicken. We had a Buff Orpington very, very, very long time ago. I had a Buff Orpington rooster, really brilliant rooster, and this is the one that I nearly got an ASBO for. So the rooster came up to my hip, so he was big, stocky guy, absolutely awesome, really, really handsome guy as well. But he was just too loud. Neighbours really started complaining and chasing us down and reporting us to the council. And the council all of a sudden sent me a summons to court saying, no, you're gonna, you're gonna get a summons to court with an ASBO if you don't get rid of this chicken. And of all the things you can get into trouble from court from, or from the police from, having a chicken, that's going to be it's going to be one of the lamest reasons for getting into trouble by the police. But yeah, but we've had the last couple of roosters. We've had them constant for almost a year now, and so far no one's been upset by it. And if no one's upset by it, then we'll just keep the roosters going, and leave them to it, let them do their thing. But yeah, where are we now? So we've still got 20 people here. What other animals have I got? I don't have any other animals, just chickens. I want. We're looking for a kitten at the moment. Yeah, the kids were pestering me for a dog or a cat. And when I asked them who's going to look after the dog, my wife asked the kids who's going to look after the dog. They're like, "Oh, are you going to look after it? You're going to clean its poo and all that sort of thing." She was like asking the kids, and they're like, "Oh no, Dad can do all of that. He's good at that sort of thing." So yeah, so they know my skills. Yeah. Get up a little. I've got I have got a pond. I've got goldfish, and I've got some fancy goldfish in there. So yeah. So I forgot to mention about the gold pond yet, but a cat is on our list at the moment. So if anyone knows anyone giving away some kittens, then I'd be interested in a little kitten. Do they survive the winter? Yeah, they will survive the winter. We turn the fountain off, or the filter off, or the pump off, so it doesn't constantly circulate around freezing water. But yeah, they survive the winter pretty good. I've done some videos. On the pond on my YouTube channel. Normally when we built them up, I want to extend the pond this year, so let the weather get a little bit warmer, and then we'll extend the pond. Out of curiosity, do you prune your peppers? Yes, I do. I've got some videos on pruning peppers, so if you do want to have a look at them, then have a look at my All About Chilies video playlist. There's some good videos on there. Absolutely chicken Hasbro. I love the sound of a rooster in the morning. I think they're great. I think roosters are awesome. Do you know the way they strut around? They're just like a really handsome animal, aren't they? And they're just they know they're it. I'm trying to get some pygmy goats this year. Better than see, pygmy goats are fantastic. I wanted some, but just the paperwork put me off. You know, having to get a license and a livestock license and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, yeah. These guys are keeping. That's my. Oh, okay. That's keeping. These guys are keeping me busy enough though. Can you look into payment for patron?
I have big glasses now.
I think they, Alan. I think they do a monthly subscription or they do like a lifetime lifetime pledge or something like that.
What you were doing your
Cost me a fortune for my daughter's kitten. See, my sister sent me a kitten picture. Right, she said, "Look, I found your kitten. 800 quid was the first one." And then she sent me another kitten picture and it was grey. And she said 200 quid. I'm like, I'm not buying a cat for 200 quid. Not a chance. If someone wants to give me one for free, I'll take it. But I'm not paying money for a cat. Not a chance.
I have big glasses now.
So you can't be wearing my glasses, boy. Put your own on.
I want to show everybody.
So
my glasses.
Cheeky. So
it's Avengers.
Work well for us. Keep each other company, sisters. And
Avengers.
Next month, cats start breeding, so you should be able to find a few dozen kittens. Okay. Okay, there we go. We might be able to find kittens next month.
Yay.
Everyone's saying hello to Zaki. There you go. 34 quid including being done. That's what I'm saying. You know, 34 quid is. I'll pay 34 quid for a cat. Apparently it was a Bengal cat or a British short hair cat or something crazy like that. But 800 quid for a cat, not a chance. I'm not paying. They'd be kicking me out and putting the cat in my bed, wouldn't you? No.
When did you get here?
When did who get here? Look at a cat rescue. Moz, I looked at a cat rescue, and I looked at a local cat shelter, but most of them are big cats. And because it's going to be like these guys' first cat,
the other people don't know.
You're gonna have to get a kitten.
But the other
a fairly young kitten, so
the
the kitten can get used to these guys, and these guys can get used to the kitten. And the other thing is that even cat rescues want a lot of money for a cat. I know they've got their own overheads and all that sort of thing, but they still want a lot of money for a cat. Yes, buddy.
Is it Friday?
Yes, it's Friday.
Oh yeah. Other people don't know me.
So I looked at RSPCA and they were looking for over 100 quid for a cat here.
And do you know where you can get cats from?
Yeah, we're talking about cats now. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You want a ginger tabby?
You want a ginger tabby? You want a ginger tabby? I don't.
A grey tabby, a brown tabby, or a ginger tabby.
You want a boy cat? That's all I know because they got bigger heads.
No.
Yeah.
I want a boy cat because they're more friendlier. Girls, they'll scratch your face off.
Boy cats have bigger heads. I like boy cats. They're fatter. You want a fatter cat, yeah?
No.
Yeah, I think you want a fatter cat. Yeah. No, it's cheap. Yeah, I want a cat for no. That's what I'm saying.
Look what he did. There was this half Bengal cat
half Bengal cat.
and half other cat for £10.
Where was that?
It was about 12 years old.
Oh, 12 years old.
But then I read the description and it said that that was like the best cat they've ever had, and they're only selling it for £10.
Well, a 12-year-old cat. That's an old cat.
Look, you can't spell it.
Who can't spell it?
Look.
Right. Okay. We're way past the 9 o'clock mark. I'm gonna call it a night here, guys.
No.
So, yeah, because I
Look,
want to go to eat, and
Where can you get cheap cats from?
I've got a motion on prevent to write once I finish this. Note means no, zero. If you get a pet from RSPCA or rescue, it goes to a charity. But the problem is, you know that charity, right? They've got RSPCA have got more money than they need. Their executives get extra. I'm gonna get political now. The executives have massive salaries. More money than most of us will ever dream of.
Wait, if they have loads of money, how come they only have 9 cats?
They're investing in a lot of things that just build up money. But yeah, there's lots of things about some of these so-called charities that just don't do it for me. That's me. But there, I'm gonna call it a night there, so I'm gonna leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. There we go. End. We find